He was 25 when he collapsed from a total occlusion of his right coronary artery. Moments before, we had gotten off the paddleboat ride at Disneyland. There was a large crowd in the park that day. I was talking about the nature of the crowd. His last words were, "Isn't it great? It's anarchy." His knees buckled, and I went to the ground with him to make sure he didn't hit his head. That was about all I could remember from my nursing education. I yelled for help. Gary must have had some great karma. There were 2 cardiac nurses and a cardiac surgeon within shouting distance. They went to work on him immediately. At that time, the amusement park didn't have any medical staff outside of a vocational nurse. The idea was that there would be medical personnel enjoying the happiest place on earth. It wasn't such a happy day for Gary's family, or me. Things I know. Grief is a strange thing. You never quite get over it. There is no flipping a switch and the light comes back on. It is a process to go through, not get over. You will carry loss like a pocket full of rocks for the rest of your life. The most difficult relationships make for the most difficult grieving process. If we don't finish processing our grief, we will relive it each time we face another loss. In time, the pocket full of rocks seems to lighten. I like to think this is what they mean by acceptance. When a young person dies, their friends will gather for the funeral. They will party like there's no tomorrow. And then, when the dust starts to settle, they are gone. Jerry, the full metal chicken, was the one mutual friend that stuck it out with me. We were friends until his death a few years ago. During the early years, people treated me like I was a pariah because I was a young widow. Like I was the one who fucked up because my husband died. These same people didn't want to hear about the dead spouse in any capacity. Once, a friend of mine told me I should never mention my late husband. He had been gone 15 years at that point. I had long ago moved on and was living with my current spouse. I asked her why. She felt that once a person was dead, that was it. No more talking about it. She also assumed that it was unfair to my current partner. A few months prior, this same friend asked me to be with her cat when the vet put him down. She didn't have the emotional capacity to witness his passing. Understanding this, I sat with him through euthanasia. I then wrapped him up in a cloth and we buried him in her backyard. That cat was the love of her life. Thinking about this, I said, I don't bring up Gary that often. It's absurd to ask me not to mention him. He was a part of my life. I am who I am because of what I have experienced. And Jeff doesn't feel he is competing with a ghost. I could say the same thing to you. She asked, what do you mean? I said her cat's name, Mr. Biggs. She gasped and clutched her chest. Some lessons are like that. People say the dumbest shit to those who are grieving. They are uncomfortable and feel powerless over that thing we must all face. The best thing anyone can do for the bereaved is to let them talk and remember. Newsflash, we are all grieving something. There's a recurring dream I have. I've had it in various iterations over the past 32 years. Gary is alive. He didn't die. He hasn't aged. But I have. There is a conspiracy between he and his family about not dying. Usually he doesn't want to talk to me. Gary was an only child raised by a single mom, a grandmother, and great-grandmother. They all lived in the same nondescript post-war house in North Long Beach. The day he died, I made the call to his family. It was his great-grandmother who answered the phone. That call haunts me to this day. For decades, I have told myself I could have been a better daughter-in-law. That family loved me because I loved their son. It was that simple. I had never felt that kind of acceptance, and haven't since. Lately, I've decided to accept the fact that I was a fucked up mess and couldn't have done any better than I did. Gary's grandmother was right when she admonished me at that first Thanksgiving. We had him for 25 years. You only had him for 2. You'll go on with your life and make new memories. He was all we had. Last night they were all there. Mom, Grandma, and Graham, his great-grandmother. In the dream, I am my current age of 61. I apologize to them all. Gary walks into the room we are in. As I am dreaming, I understand that all he wanted was to leave. I ask him, then why didn't you just tell me that? I wake up and remember a conversation we had shortly before getting married. Gary had said he didn't want to get old. My recurring dream isn't some psychic connection to the afterlife. It's my subconscious working out all my shit. It's a process of self-acceptance. The fact that I continue to age in my dream is key to understanding what is happening. It tells me that I am fluid and not stuck. I don't think Gary actually wanted to leave me. The Gary in my dreams is a representation of a deep and old wound. The conversation about leaving is my subconscious telling me to take a rock out of my pocket.